Let's build. Time out. It's Kelsito, the spirit coach, getting your ass in shape and form for the age of Aquarius yet again. And God would use somebody like me. You know why? Because I'm different. I'm different. I'm different, nigga. I'm different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. To tell you goddamn right now, the sun is going through a change right now. So what do I mean like that? What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? The sun is going through a change. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I say the sun and things of that nature, not only do we have external representations of imagination, right? Because we know everything is speculative at first, you know what I'm saying? So, the sun is what it is, right? Then we give that an idea within the mind to represent what we're calling inside of ourselves. So, light, conscious awareness, the sun, right? That's what we do. Oh, that's that idea. So, when God gonna use a person like me because the sun is changing, right? So even in astrology, we got Sun trine Uranus right now and things of that nature. So anytime we got the sun trining Uranus, this is basically us receiving a gift to change, what we're consciously aware of. Now we probably didn't hit this alignment like a lot of times, but each time it do it, you know what I'm saying, it's significant. And so we see a burst of energy, a burst of fire, you know what I'm saying? But how that looks is based on what it's doing trining Uranus. So it's going to look unique. It's going to look original. So that's why when you are within space and you choose to ride a line of frequency, a line of thought, you know what I'm saying? This is you accessing the energy. And so if you're open to receiving, and you're closer to the states of beings of things like change and being unique and original, if you're open, God can use you as a vessel to be front and center in stage in your life. Now, if you're scared of that, you know what I'm saying? If you're scared of allowing yourself to go, be significant, be the face of change and shit like that, and that's what you need to do because you know that you need to change specific things in your life. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you want to get on live in your motherfucking pajamas and look swaggy like Cito. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And then feel like, and then get, be the example of individuality because that's what feels comfortable to you. And so when we can do that, this is us changing the sun because we're changing what we always are consciously aware of. Or we're changing, you know what I'm saying? We're changing what we was lost in, the light, the conscious awareness. So now we're separating from that. And we're making that look like something that's new that can be possible. And that's when you in God's space. Changing sun, changing self. Shout out to Save Your Grace. So we all got to change our suns. You know what I'm saying? We all got to change what we pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? We be giving a lot of love and appreciation and attention to things that keep us static based upon programming. But we're not in that age. We're in goddamn Ceto's Aquarius age. We're in my age. So we gotta change that shit. And that's what we're gonna be in love with this Venus transit, Venus and fucking Uranus. I mean Venus and Aquarius right now, so we're gonna be in love with that energy. And we're gonna feel the need to relate to that energy. And add a little bit more appreciation and want to see a little bit more balance from others, even when it comes to change. But for the most part, the specific way to do it is get with your group of people, be the example that you're going to be. Don't give a fuck. And that's it. Do it for God. And God gonna make sure you all right. Shout out Ski. Shout out Ski. I was just thinking about you, like when you slid through the ATL joint and you came in, you was like, "Kill," and you was like, "Ceto, it's Ski." I'm like, "Oh, what up, Ski?" Shout out to you. Shout out to you. So you changed your name. I like that. Savior Grace. Shout out Mind, Spirit, Soul. Shout out Yamna. But yeah, you know, just basically the things that we pay attention to is going through a change. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to represent your individuality. Especially Uranus being retrograde right now. You know, you want to just create a new sun. And what do I mean by that? Create a new imagination. Create a new light. Create a new way to see yourself. But that way you see yourself has to match the frequency. So it has to be in a space where whatever you about to create is going to change and outdate the other shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't let the outdated change you. You want to remain and change other shit. You know what I'm saying? But you have to, it ain't even you have to. We do this shit all the time. Now, you just do it in a weak way sometimes, based upon the shit that you may consume and what may be on your mind and the things you pay attention to. But for the most part, you know, that's what we're doing. We're creating suns and shit like that. So whatever light any spirit like to box you out in or put you out in or put you in, you know what I'm saying, the way you're doing it and what you're presenting and shit like that is your creation. And that's your little child. That's your little baby. You know what I'm saying? That's your little baby and shit like that. You gotta protect your little baby and your son. That's why a lot of times Jesus is correlated with the son, the baby and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta protect your baby and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's creativity really, but it's a son. You know what I'm saying? The thought. So, but you gotta know also, you know what I'm saying, when to set up shop. Kill your, and I'm not talking about physical child. I'm talking about, you know, lights and shapes and forms that we create. We do this all the time, you know, aka it could be a mini thought that you have that you need to let go and that you need to, you know, when you got to put in energy work and transform the shit. And when you transform the shit, you know what I'm saying, this is you killing your son. Speculative speaking, mental, like they were talking about in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? That's how you read the Bible. Not like it's real history and facts and things of that nature. For all I know, a lot of time, when even words have a different interpretation behind them and shit like that. So you got to get to the root. And if we talking about ancient writing, you would think it would be into that perspective. If you knew something just about words. I didn't like reading when I came up, especially the way they taught y'all in school, because it would be, I would know the point, you know what I'm saying? I would already know like where it would lead to. So I felt like reading the whole story to get to the source was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, yeah, they was talking about in the source. Hold on, let me get my... So yeah, my bad. So y'all probably was gonna got on this live and probably thought I was gonna talk about the physical sun. God damn it, the shit that what we call the physical sun is created by us because our awarenesses coming together create, you know what I'm saying, basically um, the imaginations that precede what we're receiving as light to illuminate ourselves. So first we got to do the internal, not even illuminate ourselves, but you know what I'm saying, to be illuminated, aka to be consciously aware, or you know what I'm saying. But for the most part, enlightenment would be you, um, creating, your own sun and shit like that. God, okay, here I come. Hold on. Do you think the human brain is even fit to comprehend these things? Hold on. Okay, my bad, y'all. So, y'all know you said, do you think the human brain is even fit to comprehend these things? Um, no. But that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a difference between humans and there's a difference between spirit, and things of that nature. And there's a difference between mental brains and there's a difference between emotions. So if you're within just your human brain, then yeah, it'll only play out like you not you being scared to enough to change how you think, what you're paying attention to far as your human brain. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta allow yourself to shake sometimes that programming that, you know, is attached to how you may see that. And then once you allow that, you know what I'm saying, you to shake up that, you know what I'm saying, you find yourself in different areas of life that may acquire wisdom faster than, you trying to look at it a specific way. So sometimes it ain't even about, damn, do I got a human brain? Sometimes it's about, I'm in a space and I can absorb some shit. And I can create shit at will, you know? So then you start using other brains and shit like that. You start using internal, shit that's creative and shit like that, and other skills and shit. And that's what they talking about when they talking about you can unlock your brain, like 99% of your brain. But it's not really you unlocking anything. It's more so, yeah, it's unlocking the way you think about it, or the way you see it, or the way you feel about it, or whatever way that is an insecurity that stops you from, feeling that, and then allowing yourself to be in a newer, a little bit more space that is naked. You know what I'm saying? And when you're in that space and allow yourself to be in a little bit more vulnerable ages or vulnerable area, this is like you doing something new here, you know what I'm saying, for God. And then a lot of that shit kind of accumulate a lot faster because, you are within a realm that isn't limited. And that's kind of what we call in God, because all possibilities is there and shit like that. And then you're open to get different types of inspirations. So that's what it is. You feel me? But yeah. So the sun is going through a change. So it's not it is the actual sun, but it's only representative of the actual sun because we're changing it and shit like that. So if you gonna be a part of the new people that got awareness to make a change within, you know what I'm saying, your courage, you know what I'm saying, that gut feeling you got and things of that nature, aka your solar plexus, you know what I'm saying, to say, hey, no, I see this way, you know, and I'm gonna just keep seeing it that way I see it because shit, you gotta have a purpose though. You gotta have a purpose. You gotta have a purpose tied to that. And you know, that's that. But yeah, the sun is changing though. You know what I'm saying? So what we're paying attention to is changing. How we can pay attention to something now versus how we can pay attention to something back then, totally restricted. Okay, totally restricted. It wasn't too many ways you can see some shit. You know what I'm saying? See out some shit. Especially when we go into Aquarius, we're going to start seeing this change a lot more and things of that nature and shit like that. So this is you interplaying with different vibrational states and different awarenesses. So once you know, damn, I went into this space and I can see shit like this, and then when you go back into the space where it may be, you know, representative of, you know what I'm saying, what you've already accumulated, you know, as a spirit swimming around in fluid and creating, you know what I'm saying, you know, your mind and shit like that and focusing on that. You know, you still have the outer layers of that and the outer awarenesses that can make you, that can bring more awareness to new ideas and new concepts. So, you know, we all in a new space where we can see like new ideas and new concepts and a new character for ourselves and shit like that. But, you know, it's about, you know, you actually playing that. So you got to practice the magic. You know what I'm saying? You actually got to practice the witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? The wizardry, you know. And you got to be adeptus and utilize what you have, your fire, water, air, earth, your ability to connect, your ability to think, communicate, your ability to transform, fire, and your ability to practicalize, aka be hard about something, be structured about something, be on point and things of that nature when you receiving these elements and shit like that. So that's how you create your own physical character. You know, I always talk about the ancestors and about how we are the ancestors because the ancestors precede us and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this knowledge that we're bringing into that means we already within a space where we can kind of absorb that. But when you filter it through your system and through your physical structure and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? It's coming from somewhere, but we making it. So you being able to do that and you being able to make yourself a character or make yourself wise or make yourself intelligent and shit like that based upon belief, faith, and imagination, you know what I'm saying? This is what is this some shit that we all know how to do. So it's all about knowing how to do it and then still standing on top at the end of the day when everybody could throw you shade, look at you as separate, underestimate your status and position, yeah, you know, that type of shit. You know, and so you just, at that point, you know, you just sit there and play in God's realm and shit like that and stay on to your creativity. Ain't nobody told you that you gotta bow down to anybody's mind, and it's not necessarily a negative thing for you to think that way. You know what I'm saying? It's about having your own thought. The slave mastery is with the mind and shit like that. So the white man represents the what we can see, the black man and the black shit, you know what I'm saying, which is just what is already accumulated and things of that nature. Now, we not colors, but based upon, just what they put us into and shit like that, this is the interplay of the masculine and feminine, and black people being tied more to the feminine principle because we're more heavy in texture, darker in texture, which we can contain more sunlight, shit like that. And then as the white man or whatever, it would just represent the masculine side of the pillar, which would represent you being able to have an imagination and a way out of things that are heavy. But for the most part, we all kind of got this context. So that's why you should always think of yourself as a spirit first before you get into that. Because the mind is the first body that we take. And then what the mind can do, the body can't do. The mind has imagination. So the mind can think of itself as a character and then start bitching that body, your third dimensional vessel, to start reacting the way you're and that's the allegory of white and black. But because they depict it in the media, it's always them wanting us to fight with ourselves and that shit. And so that's just story. Sometimes you fight with your lower natures, you know what I'm saying? The shit that you went to, the shit that keep you down, held down. And sometimes you fight with your higher natures or try to be more in your masculine natures. But just because you white or black, it don't really mean you correlated to that position. Now, you may pick that to experience the side of that position or the body or the vessel to experience more of that position, but for the most part, don't let that shape and form and whatever they trying to put y'all in as far as what they depict in media and shit like that start reflaming how you actually supposed to think about, white and black in general and shit like that, which is just an interplay of our being able to be light and transform whatever is within. And that's our externalization, the moments when we get inspiration and we, start messing with things in the physical realm, which would be the light, white. And then the moment to hone in and sit back on our internal, practicalize, sit on some shit, you know what I'm saying? When is your flight day, if you don't mind me asking? My birthday is February 4th. I'm Aquarius, Sun, and Moon, and I'm a Capricorn rising. Would you say the moment when you start searching these methods of nature is that is the moment soul is reaching out for you to dig deeper? Would you say that the moment of when you start searching, yeah, it is. Because it's your soul trying to resonate with something a little bit more that's representative of itself. Because a lot of stuff, some things represent, so as a spirit, we always trying to find forms to represent ourselves and things of that nature. But we always kind of updating and we always got to move forward. So just like, a lot of these shits, they do it by age. You know what I'm saying? They got it set up in the system where they going to give you what you need within the system. But if you don't have no creativity going past that point, you know what I'm saying, past the point of what they give you, but like movies, there may be movies for your generation that they want y'all to participate in, or there may be songs and stuff, you know what I'm saying, that have certain juice and influence. But if you don't know how to start creating a mind without it that and shit like that, this is you want to eventually get into their system where they want it to lead and shit like that. You being a builder for whatever they trying to get y'all to build. Speculative, you know what I'm saying, y'all thoughts and feelings, and teach y'all how to be better positions and how to go to work and stuff like that. And then operative, y'all actually playing that out in some way, shape, or form. So it's always about having a creativity you know what I'm saying, that is beyond, what, we see every day in life and shit like that. And so that's the real power, because then we start changing the mind. But when you first start changing your mind, it's a little scary because you clinged upon what you knew to be as security. But if a lot of those things die out, you know what I'm saying? Everything dies. So if we can just use common sense to know that everything transformed, then we need to use common sense to know that we got to create something a little new. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Omar in this joint. Shout out to Draco. Shout out to moms in this joint. My mom in this joint. Mind, spirit, soul. Um, so yeah. So it's just about going through those transformations and allowing yourself to be a little bit open to being in a new space. And then once you start correlating, you know what I'm saying, you might start not needing the physical realm as much. So this is how people become really successful, because they'll stop needing the physical realm as much. And when you stop needing the physical realm as much and you got your own mind and shit like that, then that's just a matter of, hey, when this thought come or this feeling come, I'm gonna think about it this way. And so when you start thinking about it that way, you know what I'm saying, this is magic and shit like that. Now you doing that by yourself, depending on your environment and the thoughts and feelings that spirits and bodies that create around you, it could outweigh you sometimes and shit like that. So that's why it's about, in some way, shape, or form, us getting on one accord with this knowledge and all knowing together. Because the more we come and the more we know what we all doing, then the more, you know what I'm saying, benefits we gonna reap from that. So but this shit we do every day. It's just like creativity. But if you're being creative with, you know what I'm saying, your internal realm and shit like that, it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Because now you start creating community. And that's when you start manifesting people that be into the same shit. And then you look up like, damn, how I manifest these motherfuckers and shit like that. But y'all was already on a one accord frequency. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was already on one accord frequency and shit like that. And it's going to manifest. So the better you know how to get out of shit and be a little bit new and be a little bit changed and be a little bit more open and willing to connect, you know what I'm saying, on new, then you going to catch this shift. Now, if you don't catch this shift, you know what I'm saying, this is when you are going to allow yourself to, and we got into Uranus go direct. Because Uranus right now is within Taurus. And it's going to be there to January 22nd. So the more you allow yourself to be a little bit new and a little bit in God's space and unique and original, you know what I'm saying, this is when, you know what I'm saying, you will be a representation for others and shit like that. And speaking of unique and original, shout out to my boy Nappy Boy ENT and shit. Hey, I had to ask you something. Oh, is your birthday in 1992? And do you know your time? Do you know your birth time? You know? Do you know your birth time? So yeah, welcome everybody. And that's what we doing. The sun is changing and shit like that. So, what we paying attention to and how we paying attention to it is changing and shit like that. So you don't get scared of what you seeing. If you seeing big goals for yourself, if you seeing, you know what I'm saying, yourself in prosperity, you know what I'm saying, in some way, shape, or form, before we even get to, things of the world, but just, a feeling, you know what I'm saying, a thought, or something in your mind and shit like that, that's you getting hit with this influence, and you're invited to join the party and shit like that, because I'm Sito the Spirit Coach, and I'm getting you in shape or form, and I can show you where it's at and shit like that. You just gotta come there with your mind first, and then when you come there with your mind and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, you start stepping into your character and shit like that, where you can see this new change that we created and shit like that. And that's what we here to do and shit. But it's a lot of times that a lot of people struggle with, because they be lost into the world and the shit that be going on within the world and shit like that, and we're not as connected as we were and shit like that. So, with us not being as connected as we were, shout out to Sluggo, was good. You know what I'm saying? It puts us in a position where, where we get docile, or where we get, stuck within, old cycles and shit like that. And so, it's always important to fight for your individuality, because your individuality is always going to be a representation of you and shit like that. And then, shit, show motherfuckers how to be an individual. Sluggo an individual. Sluggo always been an individual. And then I think are you a Taurus too, Sluggo, if I'm not mistaken? If you're a Taurus, that's what we talking about. Shit changing. Life's changing. How we pay attention to shit is changing. The world is changing. It's a new way to see yourself and shit like that. So you gotta have imagination. You gotta have creativity and shit like that. And then yep. So you got Uranus in your sign. So you've been going through the changes too. Shit changing. The way that you secure yourself and your talent, your values is all changing, and it might be a little bit on some internet shit and shit like that, and ahead of its time and shit. But that's what Uranus brings to whatever sign it's in. It's gonna bring uniqueness. It's gonna bring individuality and shit like that. And then, but as far as a Taurus, it fall there. So if it falls there, then it's almost like you can be unaware of it sometimes and shit like that. Like, how am I actually going to change this shit? But really, it's just within the creativity of how you see something and shit like that. And we all did that with our talents. Change the world with our talents. Change the world with our gifts. And a lot of times we may be forgetting that we can did that. But no, we actually put time into, things that uplifted us out of the realms of realities and the mindsets that we was in and shit like that. And that's what eventually manifested and shit and changed shit. You know what I'm saying? So, creatives know about that though. Shout out to all the creatives and shit like that. So no, that shit real though. We all powerful. We all powerful spirits. You know what I'm saying? We all powerful. We powerful. Like, that shit real. That shit ain't no cap. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, you ain't ran under a government that don't know how to practice this shit and put your ass in line and make you that. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Once we get that, and you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so the sun is changing. What we pay attention to changing. Imagination, creativity, it's a lot of new spirits energy and shit like that. And because we're not in the age of Pisces anymore, where we were, just all on one train of thought, far as what we were programmed and fed, far as movies. Pisces represents the imagination. So they were doing a lot of rituals and spells upon our imagination, and kind of squaring that out in a box, which would lead to the movies, whatever the news was, whatever celebrity we was, whatever. Now the internet allowed us to be a little bit more individualistic, because we all start breaking up that time and start paying attention to shit on our specific time and when we want to pay attention to it. And so when we want to pay attention to some shit, we all doing that together is going to create breaks in programming. And if we all creating this existence because we all aware of each other's shit, we're recreating our mind. So I ain't doing this alone. I just know how to talk about it and shit like that. So y'all doing it too. It's just shit. When you know what you're doing, you look like a person that know what they doing within the matrix. If you want to be on some Neo shit. And it ain't about being Neo all the time, because Neo is just a representation of, that being the awareness and you being able to have one thought, one train of thought or a passion or something that you're going to get. But, you got to have a trinity too, something to do it for and shit like that. So yeah, that's what we doing and shit, we changing the sun. We changing the sun. The sun's changing. So, but, I try to be modest and shit like that because I'm Zeus. I can really zap this bitch and shit like that and break this bitch in half and shit like that because it really shocked y'all. But I'll be having to shock y'all the nice way. Shock y'all a little bit. Until we all can, get electrified. On one accord. So, yeah, but I do that with the astrology and shit like that. So y'all may see me posting some astrology and shit, and I might shock y'all ass. Damn, I was in that feeling. Damn, I was in that vibration. Now you more aware. You just got shocked by Zeus. Time out. It's Kelsey the spirit coach. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do. Just shocking niggas all day. And that's the type of spiritual energy we coming back with. That's the type of spiritual energy we represent. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of spiritual energy we putting into the world. A new awareness. So don't get scared because it's your power and shit like that. And, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. And then once if you lead to that realm of reality, that's more in harmony with you, with what you actually like to do. And so you being in more harmony with what you actually like to do, you know what I'm saying? That only gonna produce more thought. It's only gonna produce more shit that you like. It's only gonna, even if it's negative for the one, it's only gonna produce more, shit for you. That's in your favor. Yeah. But you can't be scared of how different it look though. You scared of how different it look, you weird. You know what I'm saying? It's a new time. 2 Chainz, man, I'm different a long time ago. You supposed to been caught that shit. But yeah, so it's all about the mind, the masculine principle of your mind. You know what I'm saying? Externalization, and the feminine principle of your mind, the ability to receive and shit like that. And then once you correlate that, you will start seeing, okay, I must be black because, you know what I'm saying, you was on that spectrum and shit like that. But you got a specific, unique way of transforming it. If you're lighter and fairer in skin, you know what I'm saying, I may be correlated with this and shit like that. Maybe I need to be a little bit. So it's all about that. It ain't even really about the shit y'all even be talking about. So, but all of that helps though, you know what I'm saying? All of that helps, everyone get on a chord and shit like that, and then come to broader awarenesses. Because you ain't never gonna stop learning. No religion, no practice gonna stop you as a fucking spirit. And that's why the spirit is no thing and shit like that. And that's the most spiritual knowledge. And shout out to Brother Dolo for bringing that here. Spirit is the space and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because when he said that, I was like, that's right. And shit like that. Because I was just looking at it like, fuck all this shit. On some brother panic shit. But even you gotta if you look at it like that, then you're gonna start creating mentalities that lead to more areas like that. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't necessarily bad if you know how to manage that. But for the most part, creating shit is where it's at. Because that's what we're here to do anyway. So that's the way love goes. That's the way rose go. What's good, girlie? Shout out to everybody in this bitch though. Yeah, but the sun is changing. Okay, so don't let me be the leader. Aquarius, I ain't Aries, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a leader, you know what I'm saying? I'm a leader in my own right, you know what I'm saying? People might call me a leader and shit like that. I be the real voice. I'm like the voice of the esoteric one. See, you know what I'm saying? Dirk, the voice of the streets. I'm the voice of the stars. You know what I'm saying? I'm the water bearer. You know what I'm saying? I'm the voice of stars. And shit like that. The voice. You know what I'm saying? Bro, they had Lil Durk with the the permanently PTSD face. And folks says what? Folks says like, man, shout out to Lil Durk. You got the permanent PTSD face. Oh shit. Kids on things. But what's up, Ray Ray? Oh man. drink the rest of the tea. Yeah. So create your character. Mine is Sito. God damn it. Sito, the ego, the eagle, you know what I'm saying, flying around. You know what I'm saying, in the name of Zeus, shocking everyone, waking everybody up, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature and shit like that. A lot of way you could do that though is you do have some answers, some spiritual predecessory within astrology, like and shit like that. You can get one of those readings from me, in a sense. You know, I don't necessarily. I'm not a regular astrologer. Like I'm not. I'm a nigga that's into astrology. I'm a nigga that lives astrology more so. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my shit ain't really um like based upon readings and shit like that. A lot of my shit is I do this shit in real life. I got a membership and you can hop on that bitch and I'm talking about this shit every day and you gonna learn something and shit like that. We gonna do this shit in life. We gonna be spiritual like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of my shit is. It ain't really for that. And my music is my music and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know, I'm gonna start, you know, getting paper from or some shit like that in some way, shape, or form. Just because not even just the music itself, like selling like albums, but the movement of the music and the way it's gonna vibrate and touch the people and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna create its own currency. And then my videos and visuals is just I'm in star mode. Yeah, so you know, we all that's what we all doing, you know what I'm saying? We all walking on stars and shit like that. But, you know, the sun is changing and shit like that. So make sure you changing how you see some shit. Don't be scared. You got to the 22nd to realize that, and then once Uranus go direct, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna start seeing a lot of this shit pick up and take off in your life. A lot of the seeds that you planted right now, as far as how you want to see the change in your character and shit like that. Once the 22nd hit and Uranus go direct, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna force you into areas where you need to play that character more. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not playing that character, you know what I'm saying, you're going to just be rebelling against what you already should be an individual about. And once you're in a space where you're rebelling against what you should already be an individual about, this is you playing out the energies in reverse. So, everybody doing it. You know what I'm saying? We see it even with the, you know, the shadow government and shit. They, you know, they got their puppets and shit. Don't think it's not gonna be a new flood of experiences and shit like that because, you know, it's they're gearing up too and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why prices going up and shit like that in stores and shit. If you go to the store, prices may going up. Prices may be going up. This is them trying to change your mind. Oh, I gotta go up. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we let them trap us into the way that we do that mentally, far as I gotta go up and step up within what they created as security, safety, stability, and shelter to be on the upper scale of existence. But that's just their way of doing it. We're feeding their system. So once we start being with God and feeding our systems, our solar systems, we can be a little bit more connected to each other in the way that we all are imaginative in. And that would be that sense of imagination. But it gotta be realistic though. People gotta be actually doing, you know, mental work, shadow work, real relationship shit, real, you know, all type of shit like that. You know, all real business shit and shit like that. Really getting out here and being representations and having our imagination be brought down here, because a lot of the imagination that we see, their imagination being brought down here. And so, you know what I'm saying, every time you fighting over Gucci and Chanel, you know what I'm saying, whatever, but you know they're living that shit, then you trying to get the crumbs of somebody else's imagination. So that lets you know that ain't your imagination. You just trying to get the crumbs of that. So you don't necessarily gotta be in that position where you're trying to fight for crumbs. You know what I'm saying? You can just go ahead and do what they did based upon the trumpets blowing, and you know, Archangel's here now. Shout out to Uriel and Michael and motherfucking, you know, Ralph and motherfucking Gabriel and shit like that. That's where my moon stay and shit like that with the Archangel Gabriel. So I'm as about as far as it go on the south of the water and shit like that, the Aquarius waters and shit. You know what I'm saying? The pipe with Pisces. But yeah, so it's just what the fuck is happening, motherfucker. So that's what it is and shit like that. So get your goddamn ass in shape and form, because I said so. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no doing that. If you with the coach, this is why I'm gonna talk to you and shit like that. It ain't personal, you know what I'm saying? But goddamn it, it's a reflection of, you know, you being with the coach and shit like that. So if you with the coach is, this is what the coach doing. Shit like that. You catch me on some rapping shit, I'm on some rapping shit. I'm on some, that's where, you know, coach at in the spirit realm. And, you know, if you catch, you know, coach and, you know, what are we doing? Shit like that. You know. But shout out to the Pisces and shit like that. My dad a Pisces and shit like that. They be very la-la with. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, because he was a Pisces and I'm an Aquarius and shit like that, I was able to like formulate probably a lot of what I manifested from coming through that imagination. And then my mama Cancer, so, you know what I'm saying, I have the ability to, you know, care about it and go through it. But I play that out in my way, aka Aquarius, make it look structured, organized, make it look principled and shit like that, and unique and original. And then my Capricorn rising make me have a status and a position and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's how we doing it in this big. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all all is in there. Shout out to OG right here. This shit. Yay. Real shit. I show you. T-Sun. The sun is changing. Shit, that's a perfect example. I ain't even know she was gonna hop in here on this one and shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? It's just individuality and shit like that. So, you know, it may be changing within. It may be it play out in all astrology play out in all spectrums of our lives and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? That's how it be. It play out in all spectrums of our lives and shit like that. You gotta be able to see. You gotta be able to see, but you gotta have information. You gotta be aware of information, and then once you're aware of information, you know what I'm saying, that's the real way of reading. Like I said, reading the mind, shit like that. Where is this leading to? That don't make no sense. I'm not finna sit here and read this book and shit like that, and it's finna lead me to doing some shit in the shadow government and shit like that and shit like that. I ain't finna read that book. I'm finna read what's on my heart. I'm finna read my story, motherfucker. I create my own story. So I create my own story. But, you know, so yeah. So the sun is changing. Yeah, so about to the 22nd. your ass got some time to go and be the face of, you know, the change that you want to see. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to fight with Uranus a little bit. You know, I like to think of retrogrades as fight. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be up for the challenge or be challenged. Coaching and guiding is very necessary. Absolutely. Yeah. So even when like, because I was thinking about that too. Like you got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? You know, in the race, you know it's ready, set, go. You got to be the going part is just as important as the ready part. Okay, baby boy crying. Give me a second. Let me see what's wrong. And he's back. All right. Yeah. I don't know what I was saying. Shout out to Tia. I like the family vibe. It must be the full moon in Cancer. A lot of family hopping in this bitch. We just had the full moon in Cancer. You know what I'm saying? So Cancer, y'all felt very vulnerable in some way, shape, or form and shit like that. But y'all had to protect y'all vulnerability. Y'all had to get a little bit more. And all of us kind of felt like these energies and shit like that because we experiencing it for the most part. But Cancers, y'all felt very vulnerable, so y'all felt like y'all had to get, because y'all the full moon and shit like that, you felt fully comfortable. So you felt fully exposed. But it played out where the sun was at. So it played out in Capricorn. So it played out how like we had to start getting our internal shit in order, start to kind of construct how we want to position and present our emotions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Get a little bit more constructed, get a little bit more, you know, comfortable in how we want to feel even within hard times and hard situations. Because Capricorn, just because it's Saturn, it's below the horizon, it leads into like hardship and shit like that. So we all trying to get comfortable with hardship and shit like that. But and the shit that we need to be hard about, and a lot of the shit that we need to be hard about, you know, right now, it's shit like getting our business in order and getting our position in order and how we want to present ourselves and things of that nature, and having a position amongst, you know what I'm saying, something new. So that's what the full moon in Cancer was about. You know what I'm saying? The full moon Cancer was, you know, that. You know. And so now, since we feeling the remnants of it, it's not in Cancer anymore. We're not in that aspect of that. The moon currently now is in Leo. And Leo, you know, for Leo, you know, it's really about, you know, having future ideas and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm finna hop off this shit because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I gotta get to them. They gonna keep knocking on the doors and stuff like that, and they ain't gonna stop. So, but yeah, I think I talked enough shit, kicked enough shit like that. The sun is changing in this bitch. Yeah.